Hello and welcome to yet another edition of Trends with LJE, where we bring you the latest and developing stories in and across Nigeria and of course Africa as well. I am John Nkamiang. Do well to be part of our growing online community by hitting that follow, like and share button right now on all platforms at LJE Nigeria. Joining me to dissect today's trending stories are Gracie and Miriam, my two of the three of my favorite female panel. Ladies, it's great to have you on this edition of Trends.
It's a pleasure.
Now let's quickly run through our headlines for this edition of Trends. Tinubu vows to secure nation, monitors adoption crisis. Major security shakeup as Tinubu recruits police, withdraws VIP escorts. Kwara Church adoptees regain freedom after 5 days. 50 Niger pupils escape adoption, 265 victims still missing. Obi Ezekwesili blames worsening insecurity on systemic corruption. Peter Obi decries leadership failure amidst national bleeding. And U.S. condemns adoptions, urges swift rescue and persecution. And of course, we go to our first story where President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has publicly stated that he is closely monitoring the security situation across the nation following a wave of mass adoptions, including the recent crisis in Kwara and Niger State. In a statement on his X handle, the president confirmed that his scheduled trip to the G20 summit in South Africa was cancelled specifically to allow him to personally coordinate security efforts at home. Tinubu vowed, "Under my watch, we will secure the nation and protect our people." The presidential statement came as a reaction to the good news that all 38 worshippers adopted from the Apostolic Church in Eruku, Kwara State have been rescued. The president commended the security forces for this breakthrough. He also broke his silence on the mass kidnapping at St. Mary's Catholic School in Niger State, announcing the recovery of 51 of the missing students. However, the mass adoption has already led to the precautionary shutdown of 41 unity colleges and several state schools, reflecting the pervasive fear nationwide. Now, the government's response, including the unprecedented cancellation of a major international trip, aims to quell growing public anxiety and blunt criticism from the opposition, which has demanded Tinubu resign if he feels overwhelmed. The president's firm commitment to intensifying security operations and his vow not to relent underscore the critical nature of the current insecurity crisis and the government's resolve to restore public safety. Now, in a decisive move to enhance frontline security and optimize police deployment, President Bola Tinubu has ordered a significant security shakeup, including the withdrawal of police officers currently providing protection for very important personalities, VIPs, across the country. The directive was issued during a high-level security meeting with the nation's service chiefs, including the Chief of Army Staff, Chief of Air Staff, Inspector General of Police, and the Director General of the DSS. According to a statement from the presidency, the withdrawal aims to redeploy police personnel back to their core duties of ensuring public safety and combating crime in vulnerable communities. Going forward, VIPs requiring armed personnel are directed to request protection from the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC. This move is part of a broader strategy to free up thousands of trained officers currently serving as private guards for individuals. The president has also reportedly approved the recruitment of 30,000 new police officers as part of a sustained effort to boost the manpower of security agencies struggling to contain terrorism, banditry, and kidnapping. By freeing up experienced officers and recruiting new ones, the administration hopes to demonstrate a practical operational commitment to securing the nation, particularly in the format of the Kwara and Niger adoptions. Now, let me come to my female panel. Let me start with you, Miriam. How do you react to the fact that President Bola Tinubu seems to be taking what might be seen as decisive steps to strengthen the Nigerian police force by withdrawing security personnel who currently are protecting VIPs, and has also given approval for the recruitment of 30,000 men to join the current police architecture that we have. From your standpoint, do you think this is the right step in the right direction by Mr. President?
Yes, it's actually the right step in the right direction. You get, if only this statement isn't just for social media talks and all that. If it's something that would really pull through what they'll implement, then yeah, it's a welcome development. I just hope he's not trying to withdraw police escorts of his perceived enemies in our political system, because many times you see that they will do some things to get back at themselves. So I just hope when he says all VIPs, I hope everybody is included, both his son, Uncle Say Tinubu. It shouldn't be these people would follow the rules. Some people know. I hope it goes round for everybody. Thank you.
Now, Gracie, you have strongly criticized the fact that before now, Mr. President has not said anything. It's not been seen that he's taken any decisive steps. With this latest move on the part of Mr. President, what's your reaction?
Okay, I would say to withdraw those VIP escorts, I would say it's a good thing. This is not something. This is something Nigeria has been saying for years. Security should serve the people, not just the powerful. So if truly what Tinubu is say he wants to do, I will recommend him is good. It should serve like. It should serve like, let's say, like headlines, because what he's saying is good. But those our policemen on the streets, they should equip them, they should train them so that they will protect the citizens, not just the politicians. So I'll say it's a good thing.
Just before I let you ladies and we move on to the next story, some Nigerians will be like, did we have to wait for this level of adoptions and kidnappings to take place before Mr. President felt it necessary to take this decisive step? Gracie, did it have to take this volume of kidnappings for Mr. President to decide to take this bold step?
This is exactly the problem we are having in this country. They should try to prevent all those things before they'll start taking a step. They should try to prevent all the things that is happening before they'll now say, not just reacting online. They should prevent it first. So Nigeria, oh God.
Miriam, did Mr. President have to wait till this volume, and then they talk about canceling the G20 summit, making it look as if he didn't go, the world was going to come to an end? I mean, is the G20 summit that critical to Nigeria? Because naturally, we know that if Nigerians did not comment, he probably would have gone for the G20 summit.
Obviously, it's very obvious that if Nigerians didn't come out to start talking, and before you know it, our president will be there forgetting what is happening in his country. So yes, and again, if our leaders or people that have been elected into political offices, that they will come out, they'll start reading that when they are being elected, they will do this, they will do that. If they can start implementing everything they've been saying that they will do before it gets out of hand, I don't think the insecurity in Nigeria will get to this level. Yes, they are trying to withdraw these escorts from VIPs. This is not the first time we are hearing it. It's been done during Buhari's time. I think Jonathan's time too is up, and it didn't pull through. This is the third time also that we're still hearing about it, and let's hope it will happen. Because I don't know why we'll have leaders or rulers per se in our country, and they'll wait for things to spoil before they'll start implementing. Okay, you know you're going to do things since you know you're put in place to checkmate all these things. Why didn't you do it since? Why are you now waiting for the poor masses to cry? Some people have lost their lives in this issue. Something that you know that you can actually do easily. You wait for it to get out of hand before you start looking for solutions. It's really not nice.
Well, a community in Ekiti, local government area of Kwara State, is breathing a massive sigh of relief as all 38 members of the Christ Apostolic Church, CAC, Shegun, adopted by bandits have regained their freedom. The worshippers were seized during a Thanksgiving service attack 5 days earlier. Their release was announced by Governor Abdurrahman Abdurrazak, who attributed the success to the direct intervention of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The governor's statement praised the hands-on approach of the president, noting that Tinubu personally led the efforts to secure the release of the adoptees and even cancelled his G20 trip to attend to the security breaches. The rescue operation involved intense effort from multiple agencies, including the Office of the National Security Advisor, the DSS, the Nigerian Army, the Nigerian Intelligence Agency, and the Nigerian Police, which deployed 4 new tactical teams to Kwara. While details surrounding the actual rescue operation, including whether a ransom was paid, remained sketchy, the governor expressed deep gratitude to the security forces and all community members for their support. The safe return of the 38 church members offers a rare and crucial moment of hope and celebration amidst a challenging national security climate, affirming the potential of coordinated high-level security efforts. Let's get to watch the video of the adoptees returning back home.
Somebody should help them now. Hey. No, let them. Hold on.
In a welcome turn of events following the mass adoption at St. Mary's Private School in Papiri, Niger State, 50 pupils have successfully escaped from their captors and reunited with their parents. The escapees fled between Friday and Saturday, days after the terrorists attacked the school and initially adopted a total of 303 students and staff members. The news was confirmed by the school's proprietor, Most Reverend Bolus Dawa Yohana, the Catholic Bishop of Kontagora Diocese and Chairman of the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, in Niger State. While the bishop expressed a sigh of relief for the 50 children, he stressed the gravity of the situation, confirming that a total of 253 pupils and 12 staff members remain in the custody of the terrorists. The school authorities continue to appeal for calm and persistent prayers while collaborating closely with all security operatives, community leaders, and government officials to ensure the safe and swift release of the remaining victims. The bishop's statement underscores the ongoing tragedy in the community, where the relief of 50 escapees is tempered by the overwhelming fear for the safety of the majority who are still held hostage. Now, Gracie, some sigh of relief. The church adoptees being freed, and now we're hearing that 50 out of 303 students that were kidnapped in Niger State managed to escape their captors. There are different schools of thoughts, especially as it relates to the sudden release of the adoptees in the church in Kwara, and then, of course, news of the 50 students. But in all of this, how do you react to both developments?
Okay, I would say it's a good news that 50 is being released, but the story is still heartbreaking because we still have 265 victims that are still there. So this to show you that we are not still safe. So the government should do more better. We cannot be rejoicing over small escape when the real problem is still there. They are not facing the real problem. So they should move beyond reacting and do the right thing to try and to make sure that those other remaining people are be fined or they should release them. So they should do more better because we need to be safe in this country. We need to be safe in our various homes. We need to be safe in school. We need to be safe everywhere. So the government should still do better to try and see how we can try and release the remaining people.
Miriam, now this is coming at a time, let's not forget, the church members who were adopted, a ransom of about 3 billion thereabout was asked. And now there is no clear indication as to how they were rescued, whether ransom was paid, whether there was a clash between security forces and the adopters. We just know that they have come back home. And of course, for the families, they are happy that their family members are back and safe. But we still cannot run away from the fact that how this was done is still not in the public domain.
I've always said it as a whole lot of times we hear audio, they abducted this one, audio that they've caught a kidnapper, they've caught this terrorist, and we are not seeing these people that they said they've caught. We don't know how they judge the matter, how they are being handled. We just hear. Now they've come out again today to tell us that these people have been released. Yes, I am happy they have been released, but were these people actually kidnapped? Like, were they just kidnapped by terrorists? Or
was it stage managed?
Exactly. Because I don't understand why you come out and tell me, okay, these people were demanding for a huge sum of money.
Yeah.
And in less than how many days they are out? Did our government pay this money? Or they just negotiated with the people they sent forth to go and to bring them back? It is still sketchy, but although I am happy, they've reunited back with their families and everybody's happy. And I hope and I pray that the other sets from Niger State that is still missing, I hope the government helps and they come back home.
Well, we'll need to take a quick break, and when we return, we'll bring you the story of how Obi Ezekwesili blames systemic corruption for worsening insecurity in the country, and how Peter Obi decries leadership failure amidst national persecution. Do stay with us, and of course, keep sharing the stream.
Welcome to LJE Studio, where creativity meets production excellence. Whether you're shooting a podcast, hosting a live stream, recording interviews, or bringing your next big idea to life, we've built the perfect space for you. Everything you need to create premium content is right here. Come record, come create, come be inspired. Visit www.ljenigeria.org/LJE-studio or call 0705-245-3714 to book your session today.
Thanks for staying with us. And if you're just joining us, this is Trends with LJE. Moving ahead, former Minister of Education and co-convener of the Bring Back Our Girls movement, Obi Ezekwesili, has fiercely attributed Nigeria's persistent insecurity and the cycle of mass school adoptions directly to what she terms cancerous systemic corruption. Speaking via her social media handle and, of course, shortly after a TV interview, Ezekwesili argued that the corruption has crippled Nigeria's foundational values and left key national institutions, including the military and judiciary, terribly compromised and incapable of delivering on their mandate. Let's watch Dr. Obi Ezekwesili highlight her position on this subject.
At least have 107 Chibok girls that have been returned and are in school. Only one of them elected not to continue with her education. The others are in school. That gives us immense joy and sense of impact. For the 112 girls that are still there, we feel so gravely saddened. And we feel like the federal government assumes that by having 107 girls back, it makes up for the rest. Well, there are 112 families that are crying right now, every day. The same thing with the Dapchi girls. You know, when Dapchi girls were abducted, we were furious because we couldn't imagine that another government would leave the same kind of vulnerabilities readily available concerning schoolgirls who were left on their own and were captured by, terrorists. That
Citing chilling statistics, she highlighted that over 1,680 were adopted between 2014 and 2022, with another 816 taken between 2023 and November 2025, a decade after the Chibok adoption. She stated that after 10 years of advocacy, the reoccurring kidnappings are no longer isolated security breaches, but clear proof of state collapse in its most basic duty, which is the protection of the nation's children. Ezekwesili concluded by declaring that the government can no longer claim ignorance or a learning curve, calling the persistent attacks deliberate negligence, which she defines as a crime. She asserted that any government that fails to rescue adopted children or rescue schools adequately forfeits its legitimacy. Her position frames the security challenges not as a military failure, but as a direct consequence of institutional decay driven by corruption. Miriam, do you agree with Dr. Obi Ezekwesili that government no longer has an excuse for the reoccurrence of adoption of schoolgirls, or even as we find it today, about 41 unity schools have been shut down, several state schools shut down. So education as it is currently under attack. And Dr. Obi Ezekwesili says government doesn't have an excuse. Do you agree with her?
Yes, I really agree with her, because many a times we've seen our leaders downplay education. You see a child who is performing very well and wants to go out to represent the country in a competition, and the government will come out and say there is no money. But this same government will sponsor people going for Hajj programs, pilgrimage and all that. But when it comes to education, they are always careless, they're carefree about it, and that doesn't make sense. Well, this insecurity now that's happening on schools today, it's not as if it started today. It is something that has been reoccurring. It has been happening from year to year.
And yet, government hasn't learned.
They don't know. It seems as if they are clueless on what is happening. But you've been there, you've been in power, and you've been seeing this thing repeating. So you want to tell me that from then when it started to now, you don't have a systemic way to fight this battle or to fight this terror. You're just there acting clueless. I concur with what Obi Ezekwesili said. She's really, really correct. And I hope our government will happen to our cries one day.
Gracie, she says systemic corruption is the problem. So she didn't point fingers at the military, she didn't point fingers at the security architecture, but her argument is that systemic corruption is the problem as far as insecurity is concerned. Do you agree with her?
Yes, what she said is she's very, very correct, because the insecurity we are having in Nigeria is getting worse day by day, because the corruption in Nigeria has eaten into the system from the inside. So you can't claim to solve a fight or to solve a problem when the institution that is meant to solve this fight is compromised. So what she's saying is very right. So until we fix the corruption in our security agency, we deploy fund properly, and we do the necessary things by holding our leaders accountable. Yes, we'll keep on saying this thing over and over and over again without anything being done. So they should fix all those things first. What she's saying is not just insecurity problem we are having in Nigeria. We also have corruption problem also.
The 2023 presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, has sharply criticized the state of collapse security in Nigeria, stating that the nation is persistently bleeding due to leadership failures. In a statement on his verified X handle, Obi lamented that the recent period has brought an unprecedented negative news, chaos, and institutional decay that should deeply trouble the conscience of all elected leaders. Obi contends that that Nigeria's current troubles are not dictated by fate, but are direct consequences of the collective leadership failure that permits lawlessness and insecurity to thrive. He argued that those elected to protect the nation have prioritized comfort over courage, politics over people, and power over purpose, leading to a clear absence of competent, compassionate and responsive governance. The former Anambra State governor painted a bleak picture of a country drifting amid daily tragedy, which serves as a constant reminder of the leadership deficit. His commentary places the recent mass adoptions and overall rise in violence, crime, squarely at the feet of the ruling elite, arguing that only a change in leadership ethos and competence can reverse the trend of national decline. And finally, on trends today, the United States has formally condemned the recent mass adoptions of students and staff in Kebbi and Niger States, issuing a strong call for the swift rescue of the victims and the prosecution of the perpetrators. In a statement from the State's Department, Bureau of African Affairs, the U.S. described the targeted attacks on educational institutions as intolerable crimes that must not go unpunished. The statement noted that the Kebbi adoption involved the killing of a vice principal and the kidnapping of at least 25 students, while the Niger State attack saw over 300 students and 12 teachers seized. The U.S. urged the Nigerian government to immediately strengthen security measures to ensure the safety of vulnerable communities, explicitly including Christian communities, which have been frequently targeted. The U.S. response places significant international pressure on the Nigerian government, drawing parallels between the recent incident and the infamous 2014 Chibok kidnapping. This international condemnation highlights the need for the government to not only secure the release of the remaining 265 victims, but also to implement long-term security reforms to protect schools and prevent such crimes from reoccurring. Well, that's all the time we have for this edition of Trends with LJE. My sincere thanks to Gracie and Miriam. Ladies, thank you so much for your brilliant contributions to the conversation.
You're welcome.
Don't forget to follow, like, and share at LJE Nigeria on all social media platforms to join the conversation and get updates on our next show. I am John Nkamiang. Bye for now.